Welcome back to the Oneness Wellness Lifestyle Show. We're here this segment with a very special interview with our guest, Dawn Petalino. We are going to be talking about Reconnective Healing and the Reconnection. You know, here at Oneness Wellness Lifestyles, it's all about self-healing. It's about you getting that natural healing information that you've been seeking. And so our guest today, we're so happy to have you here, Dawn. Welcome.
Thank you, Shiva. Thank you for having me here.
Well, certainly. I've got some questions here on my device. And, we can't hardly live without these things anymore, but I'm so glad it's just a little handheld. But you and I recently had a conversation about the energy that's on the planet and how it's affecting us and what it really means to our healing and what we can do.
Yes.
And that is happening anyway. So I just wanted to kind of give you a framework of where we're going with this, because this is going to get cosmic. So I want you to get your blue pen and your white paper, yes, because you are about to get that natural healing information that you've been seeking. And so we just want you to know we're getting ready to go cosmic on you here for your healing. The first thing we want to know, though, is the journey. The journey. How did you get started? So tell us a little bit about that.
Not by choice, I'll tell you that. Okay. It was back in like 2004, and it's not an unusual story. I hear it from many women, many people, but particularly women, where the marriage fell apart, the job was just becoming something I couldn't do anymore. It was burning me out. I had spent a lot of my life as a child. I grew up in alcoholism, so I had spent a lot of time masking a lot of pieces of myself. And I took that into my marriage, and I took that into other places in my life. And so back in 2004, it was one of those times where I felt like the rug was pulled out from under me. And, situations took place in the marriage that just totally kind of threw me for a loop. And then the job was just starting to grind on me. It was a place where I had to really go into total surrender because I had no repertoire for what I was going through. And which is the blessing of kind of having what I say, God, Spirit, kind of knock down the walls of your house.
Sure.
Is it puts you in a place of complete humbleness and willingness. And that was the initiation. 2 years later, I ended up leaving the marriage, leaving the job, leaving my home, and I took a year off. And during that time, I really went inward. It was also during a time, again, of having no idea what I was going to be doing. And during that year, I felt that I had started to get back in touch with the pieces of myself I had lost. I had started to really feel guidance and really get connected back to my own spirit. Then after that, I had started out developing my own tutoring business, which I received in a meditation to kind of start doing that, because I was a teacher, a classroom teacher, which I've done and continue to do. But it was about 2 years ago that I got the Reconnection done. And I always knew I had healing capabilities. I took a Reiki class, and back when I was married, and I never really did anything with it. But I knew it heightened my energy, and I knew I could feel certain things. But it was really a part of myself I just pushed away.
I suppressed.
Yes, I didn't really. I thought, well, that's kind of neat. Spirituality was kind of neat back then. Let's put it aside. But then after I started the tutoring business, and after I had a Reconnection done, which we'll talk about what that actually is, I really knew that I was a healer. And so I claimed it, and I stood up in this group of, I was at a speaking workshop one weekend, and we had to introduce ourselves. And it was the first time I introduced myself as a healer. And after that, it was like the universe gave me all these yes signals. And so things just started to happen fast, as it does when you start to kind of align with what you're meant to do.
Yes.
So that led to a series of events that I ended up getting trained in the reconnective healing and the reconnection. I also became a transformational coach for women, and I'm an intuitive, and I help people. I give messages from spirit to them.
Wonderful. So from devastation,
yes,
right?
yes.
Which is not uncommon when the universe, when God, when spirit, however you relate to the God of your heart, is moving you from one space to another. If it doesn't happen in a breakdown,
that's right.
You know, I don't know too many people where it didn't happen in a breakdown. So to move from that though to surrender, when we stop trying to figure it out.
Right.
When we realize, it's interesting you said that spirituality was kind of a neat thing and you just push it over here. When we really get to recognize that oneness, that very first relationship is the relationship that has to be nurtured all the time. And when we work in our jobs, we don't necessarily get that all the time. Or maybe it wasn't even talked about in our family. That's a very powerful, relatable story, you know, that how your path has led you to this. So you talk about you got the reconnection done.
Yes.
So what is done?
What is done? Well, about that time, I knew I wanted to be a healer. I knew I was a healer, and I had taken a reconnective healing workshop, and the reconnective healing is different from the reconnection. But I took a reconnective healing workshop to do reconnective healings on other people. And one of the things they told us in this workshop, the reconnective healing and the reconnection, Eric Pearl is the man who made it international. He didn't come up with it, but he publicized it enough that it became international. And I took the reconnective healing workshop. Actually, prior to that, I did take the reconnective healing workshop, and then I just knew when I was there that this was something. This was something. And then I was planning on taking a Reiki 2 workshop, because I was just exploring modalities. But right before that, a friend of mine, Valores Figures, who also is in...
Yes, Valores.
Yes, she does the reconnective healing and reconnection also in this building, in elemental healing. And she, after I took the reconnective healing workshop, they told us about this reconnection. And the reconnection, what it is, it's based on sacred geometry. And it is reconnecting you back to the grid lines of the planet. And so you are being reconnected, all your systems being reconnected back to the sacred points of the planet. And when that alignment happens, your life purpose takes off. And that is definitely what happened to me.
Okay, so I told you we were going cosmic on you. So now we're talking about grid lines of the planet. And for those of you who are fans or been following us here at Oneness Wellness Lifestyles for a while, you know that this is a work of spirit and of light and making the sacred life connections. And that's really what you're talking about in terms of making sacred life connections in such a way that we become aligned with our point of focus on the planet.
Right.
Which unlocks the purpose.
And in fact, after that weekend workshop, where I went then to the weekend workshop to actually learn how to do the reconnection for other people, because you can have healings done, but you get a reconnection done and things happen. And when I left there, I had this overwhelming sense of sacredness. You talk about sacredness. And it was a strong sense that I knew, I really didn't even understand it all, but I knew, this is what I'm supposed to be doing here. This is why I'm here. And it was that sense of very sacred in helping our planet and the people evolve at this time.
Yes. This is so really wonderful, because when we talk about this oneness, wellness, it's about that connection that makes us well. It's about that realignment. It's about the planet being realigned now, or being in alignment, because this is 2013. And we know that the planets aligned, and I don't want us to forget that, because we're here in March now, and we forgot about December 21st, and we forgot about, coming into this new year,
Right.
and the energies that are actually bombarding the planet at this time for our good.
That's all what the reconnective healing and the reconnection is about. It's about these frequencies, these energies, these cosmic rays that were not here prior to the late 80s, early 90s. They were not here, and now they are, and we are integrating them. We're going to integrate them anyway, but the reconnective healing and the reconnection allows us a gentle process of integrating them.
Okay. A gentle process.
A gentle process.
So, how many of you, this is, find out, and you can go to our email at shifa@oneness-lifestyles.org, and just shoot me an email. Let me know how many of you feel like you're not quite sure what you should do or what your purpose is, or you're, experiencing, like Dawn talked about, your world is being shaken.
Right.
And you're not quite sure what's going on. If that's happening for you, send me an email at shifa@oneness-lifestyles.org. And let's start a conversation. You can also follow us on Facebook. We're going to be posting this segment from Elemental Healing on Facebook and Twitter and all that. So you know how we do the social thing. So this is just a very exciting topic.
It's very new.
Very exciting.
Very new.
And new for us because there's something new happening in our bodies.
Very, on a physiological level, we are changing.
We are changing.
Yes.
Wow. Very, very interesting. So not only maybe don't you know what your purpose is, but you can feel changes in your body. We talk about natural healing and that everything is vibration. And it's not so much about the food choices that you make because of the food choices, but because of vibration, because of what you're putting in your body, so that you can align vibrationally to the things that are happening on the planet. So when we come back, we're going to talk more deeply about exactly what is happening and how it relates to you with regard to your oneness, wellness lifestyles. We'll be right back with Dawn Petalino right after these messages. Great day, Shifa here, and I want to invite you to our 2013 Vernal Equinox Fast. Yeah, we're going to fast for some of us 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days. Now, this is a nutritional fast. So you're going to get all of the vitamins, minerals, your antioxidants, all that good stuff that your body needs while we cleanse. This is big. This is big. It's springtime. As the flowers are bursting forth and blooming with vitality, it's time for us to allow the cells of our body to get in sync with the movement of the universe during the time of the vernal equinox. This is a very powerful cleanse. Now go to the website, oneness-lifestyles.com, download your free ebook, Awaken the Healer Within, Transformational Self-Healing. That's going to be our roadmap. That's going to be what we're using. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as we're going to be posting all through the fast. We look forward to you participating with us. See you on the fast. Great day. Welcome back to the Oneness Wellness Lifestyle Show. We are here at Elemental Healing, located at 5200 Park Road, right here in Charlotte. We're in the library on the second floor at Elemental Healing, and I'm here with our special guest today, Dawn Petalino. She's talking to us about the reconnection and reconnective healing. So let's jump right back into that, because my question is, so what are these frequencies that you're talking about, Dawn, and how is this different from other types of energy healing that we may be familiar with?
That is a great question, because when I started doing this, I didn't know. I thought, how do you explain to someone something that's new that even I can't understand? And, you know, in the workshop and in Eric Pearl's book, he talks about DNA. Mm-hmm. He talks about DNA. And he was a chiropractor who was very scientific. He didn't really believe in any kind of woo-woo stuff. But when he was on vacation with the friend convinced him to have this woman do this process on him. Mm-hmm. And so he had it done. And she was some type of healer. He came back to his chiropractic care, and he started having miraculous healings with his patients, where it wasn't just the chiropractic care that he was giving. They actually started healing of their illnesses. And his hands started blistering, and he did not know what was going on. And he went out to seek out, what is this that's happening? During that time period, there were over 50 patients in like 3 months who channeled to him. Mm-hmm. And they were channeling what they identified as the Pleiadians, which, cosmic here.
Okay.
We're taking you far out.
Yes.
Pleiadians are star beings from another planet.
The Pleiades.
The Pleiades.
Right, the Pleiades, right, okay.
On the Pleiades. So they started channeling. They said, keep doing what you're doing. You're reconnecting strings. You're reconnecting strands. He didn't know what that meant. Mm-hmm. And because he was so scientific, he went out to do different experiments, hired all kinds of different people with quantum physics, and just did different experiments. And what he found was, whenever somebody would, they took these Russian athletes, and they took a picture of their auras, and there was different holes in their auras, and they would do a reconnective healing, and after the healing, the aura would be full, and it'd be whole. Mm-hmm. And what he says in this book is that we are reconnecting DNA. Mm-hmm. Now, that was a little hard to believe. I still didn't know how to explain that much.
Sure.
So I asked in my own meditation, I said, okay, well, Spirit, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. What is it I'm doing? Shortly after that, a woman came to me and said, she actually bought me this book and said, I am supposed to bring this to you. And she had come for healing, and she brought this book with her. And it is teaching, it is Bringers of the Dawn. Now, my name is Dawn. My business is New Rays of Light, which came in a meditation. So, of course, I was interested already. Yes. And it's teachings from the Pleiadians. And when I began reading this, I thought, oh, my gosh, this is telling me exactly what I'm doing. And it talks about now, in this time, there are these cosmic rays that are here because we are evolving. We are actually reconnecting our DNA back to 12 strands. And when those 12 strands are rebundled, we reconnect our 12 chakras, which opens us up to the vastness of the universe. We remember who we really are. We are moving into a consciousness where we are living as the exalted ones, where we are moving beyond the idea that there are any limitations. Mm-hmm. Life can be effortless just by our intention. And that knowledge is gained through these 12 bundlings, of this reconnection of the DNA. It's happening anyway. Mm-hmm. It's happening anyway. But with the DNA, with the reconnective healing, it happens, what I feel like, I feel like the people that I've given healings to, they get a direct communication with Source.
Okay.
And so whatever within their own mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, that is not allowing the light to come in, that is not allowing this information, that would be blocking it, that would be limiting them, is healed, and it's on a subconscious level. So you might get information. It's beyond just energy. Energy is one carrier, but other people, you get truth, which is light, and information. So I've had people get images, or they will see certain memories, or some people just get a whole. This one woman, she got a psalm that she was contemplating, Psalm 23, and when she had her healing, she got all this information about what it meant that she had never heard of before. So some people, it's whatever we personally would need to evolve. And this process is a gentle process. It's happening anyway. And I had shared with you that I had sat in meditation and said, well, what is it? What am I doing?
Yeah.
And I said, if it's happening anyway, what happens if someone doesn't get a reconnective healing? And what I felt was someone being kind of jolted. And I'm an intuitive and I'm an empath, so that means I get pictures and I get feelings in my body. And I felt and got a picture of someone being jolted, and it felt like you were just kind of hit, and then you came up again, and then just got hit again, and then came up again. And so it was a very kind of
so that's
traumatic.
Without the healing.
That's without the healing. It's going to happen anyway. We're reconnecting our DNA, which also means we're clearing our stuff.
Yeah.
We're clearing our emotional baggage. We're clearing the things from the past and how many lifetimes.
Right. And you know how much stuff you have, right?
I have a whole, closet full of bags here, right? Yes. So that's without it, because there is going to be some jolting. There's going to be some awakening. These frequencies are looking to fit within us. And so places have to be cleared. Then I asked, well, what happens if you get a reconnective healing? And what I felt there was I felt these like these vines growing up in me. And it just felt like all this support. And then I saw a picture of like a mother putting a little jacket on a child. So something practical that had to happen. But she was cooing with the child. The child was laughing. There was a tender, nurturing feeling to it. And that's what, Eric Pearl, many of his patients that started channeling, he says in there, one of the channelings said, this will be an unconscious process. That is certain. It will be gradual. And when this woman brought me this book, it says the same thing. It says, your body, your nervous system can only handle so much at a time. So it's going to be gradual, but you are not alone. And that's what the reconnective healing does. It's happening anyway, but there is so much support. And what I found even for myself is it happens quickly. And, it's not that we get to bypass. We don't get to bypass feeling our emotions. This book talks about that too. It says you want to be powerful, but you don't want to feel anything, and yet your emotions are the key to your spirituality.
Yes.
And we are moving back into a time where, as you had mentioned, that oneness. We are going back to the oneness of the divine feminine, our intuition, our receptivity, and we are learning to integrate our masculine and our feminine in a way that honors the divine feminine, the strong feminine, but not in the patriarchal sense that we have learned thus far.
Right.
So we're learning to marry these two within us. And when we do that, the world of possibility just opens for us, and we know who we are, and we know we are love. And that's what the that's what the reconnective healing, it mentions too in this book, of Bringers of the Dawn, that light energy, the frequency that we've been carrying right now, large concepts cannot be carried on just light energy. It needs a broader, stronger energy, and so it's being carried on a love frequency.
Absolutely.
That the body can actually hold.
Yes.
So we can develop these large concepts.
Yes.
And that's what the reconnective healing does. It gradually, I see it when I give a healing, and I tell the person, because Eric Pearl says between 1 and 3 healings, and I tell the person, give it a couple days, give it a week. Before you decide to have a second healing, just notice. Just notice the changes of where you're at now. And wait a month. Just notice. I've had people leave relationships like a week later. That toxic relationships. I've had people that, were out of work, and then after a healing a few days later, they make a different decision and go into a different area and then get a job. And I've had people who, this one man he was on life support, and they couldn't operate because his blood cell count was down. We did a distant healing, which you can do, and his blood cell level went up. I mean, he's in a wheelchair, but they thought he was going to have brain damage. They didn't know if he was going to have any movement of his body, and he does now. And he does. And it's because the reconnective healing, it happens, but it's going to happen gradually at a pace you personally can hold.
Thank you for saying that. And there's something that we can do about that. When we focus on the healing personally, our personal healing, and we make those decisions to raise our vibration. I'm a messenger of light. It is my responsibility to use the sound and light rays to bring forth this type of information through this medium which we have, Owl Media and the Oneness Wellness Lifestyle Show, in the myriad of ways that shows up in the media. And as a messenger of light, it's important that you know from us bringing this information that you have a responsibility in making sure that your vessel is able to hold the light. Your cells are able to hold the light. So the toxic foods, the toxic relationships, all those kinds of things are what we can consciously take responsibility for. So as we are coming into the knowing that these frequencies are on the planet, that the planet itself, Mother Earth, this living being that we have residence on, has aligned cosmically.
Yes, she's evolving as well.
Yes. And that there are other cosmic beings, light beings, legions of light that are assisting us. Those who are ascended, who are assisting us. So I told you we were taking you cosmic, right? So understand for yourself that there are those who are here, like Dawn Petalino, right? Like the flower petal.
That's right. I think it means something like that.
And who are here on the planet to assist us to be way showers to the light. So Dawn has a program coming up.
I do.
This Sunday.
I do. It's actually in elemental healing, and it's in the library. So it's a first building, second floor. It's a free workshop. It's at 1 o'clock, 1 to 2:30, and it is just going to help explain to people what reconnective healing is, what the reconnection is, and they will actually get a chance to experience these frequencies. It's not going to be a full healing, but it will enable them to experience what these frequencies are like.
Good.
And I love that you said that, because this book talks about, too, the greatest thing we can do right now is to work on our own inner evolution.
Yes. There you have it. So turn on your light. Turn on your light and let it shine. You're watching the Oneness Wellness Lifestyle Show. We've had a wonderful session with Dawn Petalino, and I encourage you to stay tuned, and we'll be right back.